Okay, so I'll introduce myself. I'm Lindsay, and I want to thank Whitney so much for inviting us to come speak today. It's definitely a little bit out of my comfort zone to do that, but I was looking over your resume online and like pretty awesome, like the Utah 40 under 40 Utah Business Magazine, which is really, really cool. So that's amazing. Thank you for giving us the opportunity for this growth and like thinking that we had something worthwhile to share. Absolutely. Feels pretty cool. To introduce a little bit about our business, we started a piercing shop almost a year ago. It's called Groovy Peach Piercing Co. A few things about it is we pierce with hollow needle, not gun piercings like what you get at Claire's. Hollow needle piercing is a lot more safe, sterile. We saw a need basically for a piercing shop in the South Valley of Salt Lake. There's quite a few piercing shops, but they're all centrally located in like the Sugar House and Salt Lake area. And like ourselves, we've always driven there for piercings. People who care about the place and type of piercing that they get know that going to a piercing shop is way better than like the mall or Claire's, like Piercing Pagoda. And we saw a need basically that there's nowhere out in the South Valley to get a piercing. And we thought, okay, this is like a big opportunity for us. I think that a business like that would do really well out here. There's a ton of growth. There's tons of women, children, teens, queens, everyone that wants a piercing, and people are really catching on to the fact that hollow needle piercings are a lot better these days than gun piercings. That's not something that was like common knowledge, you know, a decade ago, but now it really is, and people know that. And so they are seeking out hollow needle piercings, and we thought, okay, we need to like pounce right now on this opportunity and start a piercing shop out here in the South Valley. Like on my radar, I was not thinking that this would be growing as big as it has. I was hoping for a few appointments a week. We rent a small salon space, but the business has actually gotten very busy. We book out almost all of our appointments, and right now we're in the process of thinking about continuing to grow the company, looking for bigger location, things like that, and it's all really, really exciting. So basically, like what we do is hollow needle ear piercings. A big part of our business is like bespoke ear styling. So if you can kind of see our ears, they're like curated with really pretty good high quality jewelry that won't tarnish, that also won't be causing infections or irritations. A lot of piercing jewelry, like historically, is made with dubious materials like brass, nickel, just alloy materials, and then plated with gold. And once that plating starts to flake off, it causes a lot of issues and irritations for people. So we sought out materials that are used in like piercing shops that have been established for years and do a good job. And we use the same materials, mainly like titanium and solid gold. And that's what we have been piercing with. But we offer like a service of curating ears to have a beautiful put together look, which is not something you find at other piercing shops that specialize more in like facial piercings and belly button piercings and body piercings. Ours, we gear all of our specialty toward curated styles that look really pretty, people that want these like Pinterest perfect ears, but don't know quite how to put together that look. That's what we do, and that's what we know how to do really well. Let's see. Some background about me is I have about 5 years of experience working in a hospital, which is kind of what led me to Groovy Peach. So I used to draw blood at Primary Children's for a few years as a phlebotomist, and then I worked as an IV tech later on after that. I took my skills from phlebotomy and learned how to do IVs and did that. And I did that while I was in college. While I was going through college at the University of Utah, I was planning to become a nurse. But after 5 years of working in the hospital, I was like, you know what, I really don't feel passionate about being a nurse, but I don't know what else I want to do. And I had invested a lot of time and money into my like education at that point. And so I switched my major to human development and family studies and graduated in 2012 from the University of Utah. From there, I had a baby like 2 weeks after I graduated. And so I was immediately in a position where I had always worked my whole life, but really could no longer work very much because I had a baby at home that I wanted to take care of. And my husband was in the middle of pursuing a really busy career himself. So I did a bunch of random funny little things that I'll probably embarrass myself and tell you guys about. But that's just kind of that's a bit about myself and Groovy Beach. So that leads me to a couple things I was thinking of talking about, but let's see if I can fit this out. So identifying your interests, figuring out how to align them with your values and your personality and balancing them with your skills is critical, and has been a critical thing for me in starting this piercing business and my career. And what I mean by that is, like, my interests were clearly like from working in piercing and drawing blood, starting IVs. There were parts of working in the hospital that really did interest me and that I loved. There were other parts that I just didn't love and didn't align with my values. So piercing felt like a natural step for me, as it was kind of a parts of medical that I liked, but it was also a lot of fashion, and that's also something that I care a lot about and I always have. And so it felt like, okay, I think I could figure out a way to put those two things together, which is what I did. Secondly, values. So ear piercings are like a pretty personal thing for me. It's always been a really special experience for me to get my ears pierced. I think it's something that a lot of people feel really similarly about, especially in Utah. It's kind of a hotly debated topic of getting your ears pierced with, religious influences, things like that. And I wanted to, so to me, that aligned with my values of like providing a special experience for somebody else who getting an ear piercing was likely a really big deal for. Okay, timeline on your entrepreneurship. This is where I'm gonna like probably embarrass myself and tell you guys some like things about my past. So while I was, let's see. I'm gonna try and like skim through some of this so I don't like bore you guys too much. But basically, like, putting a timeline on your entrepreneurship is like, I feel like I'm pretty old kind of sometimes. It took me a long time to like get into a career that I really liked. I thought that I was on the path to becoming a nurse. I was working in the hospital. I was like checking all the boxes of these are the steps to get to this career of nursing. And then I changed it, and all of a sudden I was like, okay, well, now I have this really random degree in human development and family studies, and it's like the mom degree, and what the heck do I do with that? And so it took me a long time, but like there have been experiences that have led me to starting Groovy Beach now that I'm really grateful for, and I'm happy that I didn't feel rushed. And I think that like entrepreneurship and starting a business is something that can only happen naturally, and it can't be rushed and forced. And it's a lot easier said than done to just say, I want to start a business, have the idea come to you immediately, and then figure out how to execute on that and make it all come together. And it took a long time for me to do that. There's a book called Range. It's by David Epstein. It's a really good book. I was thinking of just reading the synopsis to you guys, so I'll do that super quickly. But basically, like, if entrepreneurship is something that you feel intimidated by or that is interesting to you, this is a really great book, and I would recommend reading it. But the synopsis is, plenty of experts argue that anyone who wants to develop a skill, play an instrument, or lead their field should start early, focus intensely, and rack up as many hours of deliberate practice as possible. If you dabble or delay, you'll never catch up to the people who got a head start. But a closer look at research on the world's top performers, from professional athletes to Nobel laureates, shows that early specialization is the exception, not the rule. David Epstein examines the world's most successful athletes, artists, musicians, inventors, forecasters, and scientists. He discovered that in most fields, especially those that are complex and unpredictable, generalists, not specialists, are primed to excel. Generalists often find their path late, and they juggle many interests rather than focusing on one. They're also more creative, more agile, and able to make connections their specialized peers can't see. Range makes a compelling case for actively cultivating inefficiency. Failing a test is the best way to learn. Frequent quitters end up with the most fulfilling careers, and the most impactful inventors cross domains rather than deepening their knowledge in a single area. Which leads me to my next point, which is explore and pursue entrepreneurial opportunities and be willing to fail and be willing to work hard. And this is where I'm going to get into like a couple of my experiences over the past 10 years. So I graduated from college, I had a baby. What do? I didn't know, but I knew that I wanted to start a business. There's quite a bit of entrepreneurship within my extended family, and it was something that has like always spoke to me, but felt really confusing and I didn't know where to go. So I just started doing a whole bunch of really random things. For example, as soon as I graduated college, I was like, well, what could I do? I happened to be really good at statistics, and I printed out some flyers to tutor staff, and I went up to you and I taped them up on the wall outside the classroom, and I emailed the professor and I was like, hey, can you just send this out, see if anyone wants a stats tutor? And I was like surprised, a bunch of people did. And so I spent 2 semesters tutoring stats, and I would like meet people at the library and the coffee shop and have them come to my apartment, and I had my baby with me, and it was like a whole thing. But I did it. Another thing that I did was I refinished furniture for a while. It was just another, like, I'm a pretty creative person. Again, why I think Groovy Peach and jewelry is like a good fit for me. I've always been very interested in art and anything creative. So I refinished furniture, and I would sell that on Facebook Marketplace and KSL.com. Another thing that I've done over the years is I started a car detailing business. So I would like advertise on Facebook. I had people come to my parents' house and I clean their cars in the garage while my mom like watched my baby. I'm telling you, this is like embarrassing stuff. But it took like a ton of work, and it took putting myself out there to figure out what I did and didn't like. Another thing, let's see, I have quite a few of these and I'm gonna forget them. Oh yeah, my cleaning business. Yeah, so I started my cleaning business. That went terribly. I went to my very first job ever, and I dragged Haley along with me, and we got there and we were like, oh my gosh, people live this way and I can't clean this bathroom, and it was horrible. So it was the one and only time I cleaned. But prior to going on that job, I had spent a ton of time learning how to build a website and learning this Acuity scheduling tool. And so that was super valuable to me because I now knew all those things, and a lot of that has been applied in my business of Groovy Peach. I feel like I haven't, what else have I done? Oh my gosh, I don't know. Just lots of little odd, embarrassing entrepreneurial jobs over the years that I hoped in one way or another would work out, and some have and some haven't. But I do think that like I learned a lot from it. And just the fact of being willing to put myself out there was huge and prepared me for really putting myself out there with starting a piercing shop where I was performing like invasive things on people, bodily modification, things like that, that I really had to like lean on myself to trust myself, that people would trust me. And that was very, very crucial. Again, creating opportunity for yourself, leveraging your network. I'm just gonna like skim through this quickly. I think everybody knows how important a network is. I cannot like stress enough how important it's been for me and my career. Both of my jobs at the hospital that I've had were gained through my network of knowing somebody that was willing to reach out to a manager and get me an interview. And I've always leaned on that. With Groovy Peach, our collective network of the 3 of us is huge, and we lean on it just about every single day, whether we're looking for an attorney for legal advice, accounting, so many things. And pretty much every connection we have is turning to our network, not Google to find somebody, some type of professional to help us. Like really racking through your brain, thinking of who you know or who could know someone that could help you is huge and like very, very important to us. And lastly, the power of partnership. I'll run quickly through that. The 3 of us, one thing that I want to stress is like over the years, all my little odd job things have mostly been myself. Like I've dragged, Haley's my sister, I've dragged her along for like a few things here and there. But for the most part, my success has been with Groovy Peach because the 3 of us are together, where in the past, I've just been kind of doing that on my own. And I'm a hard worker, I do have skills, but it's like no one, with Groovy Peach, there's no way I could do everything that needed to happen with the shop without having 3 of us there. Rachel handles our scheduling and our finances. I handle most of like ordering, supply management, jewelry ordering, things like that. And then Haley does social media, marketing, branding, which is huge for us. There's just no possible way I could do all three of those things myself. And the three of us working together has been really, really big. So I think like if my advice looking to start a business, find a partner that you really trust, you know really well, that can like help you launch your business to where you want it to go. And that's it. So Haley, go ahead. Awesome. Okay. Awesome. So my name is Haley Shino, and I'm excited to be here today. I was a SLIT graduate, go Bruins. So I'm going to be talking about brand experience and sales today at Groovy Peach. I have kind of had a non-traditional career path, and I would kind of like to share some of my experiences and how they've helped shape the brand experience and sales for Groovy Peach. So first, let's go ahead and talk about, we'll talk about brand. Just last fall, I was working in product development at a high-end interior design firm called Alice Lane Home Collection. I actually quit that job like the end of October to start Groovy Peach, and I loved that job. So I took a big leap doing that. At Alice Lane, I was responsible for sourcing and developing our furniture and accessory designs overseas. And I essentially curated an entire exclusive line of items, from implementing a concept from the designers to negotiating production and shipping terms to finally naming and marketing the product. And Alice Lane is it's a successful design firm. So they are very good at creating beautiful spaces. A home designed by Alice Lane is not going to look or feel like anything that's cookie cutter or boring. And that's why they're so successful. It's because they can create something unique and special that not very many people can. So my time working there really helped forge the path to starting Groovy Peach and knowing how to create a strong brand. So how do you develop a strong brand? And a lot of it, we'll start with brand identity. Logos and visual elements are very important. It needs to be very consistent, and it needs to represent your brand and your goals and what you're doing. So right here, we have several variations of our logo. So our first logo is the orange and peach, the Groovy Peach. That's what you see on most everything. Then you're going to want a grayscale logo, actually. Then an abbreviated logo, which is the GP. And we go by GP some of the time, and it's really good. And that's part of like being proud of your brand and representing. Also the Groovy Peach right here, we're kind of playing around with this. We might use this for when we launch our, for when we launch our jewelry line. So we're kind of playing around with that. But your overall brand voice and tone, sorry guys, I keep doing that. All right, there we are. Okay, so your overall brand voice and tone, you just want to define a consistent voice and tone for all communications that will align with your brand's personality and target audience. So I think that our logos here kind of show what we're about at Groovy Peach. We have a lot of fun. Our space is different, it's unique, it's like retro, it's like a whole vibe, and that's what we do here with our branding and also our social media. It's all very consistent, and it kind of paints a picture to what people can expect when they come to Groovy Peach. Okay, and then the next is brand positioning. So you need to clearly define where your brand stands in the market and how it differentiates itself from competitors. So again, you can go anywhere really for an ear piercing. Unfortunately, it's kind of like the wild, wild west, and anybody can buy like a piercing gun and just pierce somebody's ears. So what sets us apart and what makes people want to come to Groovy Peach? And a lot of that is branding. The branding will feed your clientele and will get people through your doors. And then also your target audience. Identify and understand your target audience's preference, needs, and behaviors to tailor your branding efforts accordingly. So Lindsey kind of talked about it, but we're in the South Valley currently. So we are just right off of South Jordan Parkway. And so automatically that puts us into an area that has a lot of families. So we pierce a lot of children. We even do some baby piercings. And we just pierce a lot of women, a lot of college girls. And we decided to lean into that even more. We weren't super interested in going deep into like the body piercings. We wanted to stay more with, the craziest we get is a nostril, and it works out really well for us. So we just kind of dialed that in. We've really found our niche, and I think we've executed pretty well on it, and it keeps us happy, and it makes it so that we're able to provide a very consistent experience for people. So just in general, strong branding is a crucial aspect of any successful business or organization. It involves creating a distinct and memorable identity for your brand that sets it apart from competitors and resonates with your target audience. Okay, and next we're going to talk about the experience, customer experience, product quality and service, and community engagement. So I have always loved design. I've loved creativity and art, and overall an experience. So I grew up going to Disneyland, and I always loved the feeling of being transported to a different place. It's like a magical world where everything was designed to give you the most perfect experience and make you feel a certain way, right? And people love themes. We love cohesiveness. We love a true experience, and that is something that is really important to us when, as we were starting Groovy Peach. There are, again, many places you can go to get your ears pierced, but do they provide you with an experience? Do they provide you with something that you leave like really happy about, and you'll remember it, and you'll share it with other people? So customer experience, ensure a positive and consistent experience for customers across all touch points. So from the very start, me, Lindsey, and Rach, if somebody calls us from Google trying to set up an appointment or asking us questions about like a hollow needle piercing, what that entails, or reach out to us on Instagram, we, from the very start, we try to be very friendly, we're prompt, we provide information, and that, again, helps to push traffic through our doors. And that helps people to pick Groovy Peach over going to Claire's. Like, even if they have to wait for an appointment at Groovy Peach because we're usually booked out, they will pick that over going to a place where they could get in the same day, because we provide them with really good information, with good customer service. And I think overall, we try to make people really comfortable, because piercing can be a really scary thing for some people. And then the next, product quality and engagement. So people, we've had actually quite a few people now that come into Groovy Peach because they're just like, I looked on Google, I loved your reviews, but it's like the cutest shop ever, and I just wanted to I wanted to come in and see what it looked like, and I wanted to be a part of it. And that makes us feel so good because we worked so hard to do that. And that's part of that, is people, they come to Groovy Peach expecting a certain experience. So we try to be so careful to provide that experience for them when they actually walk through our doors, because we want it to be consistent throughout from start to finish. And then basically community engagement. It's really important. I feel like we're kind of being a part of the community right now, and we love that. Basically, you need to engage with your audience through social media, through events, and through any channel that you can to build a community around your brand. So back in April, we did something that's called the Women Power event, and it was only women vendors. And it was just really fun. It was empowering. It was fun to support other women. It was a really, really good, it was really great. We loved it. Then we actually went on Good Things Utah, was it last month, I think. And that was awesome because the media, people trust the media. People look to the media for information, and that was a great way to get our name out into the community. And it was really fun. So we loved that. And then also we have tried to participate in a few different charity events around the community, help people with fundraisers by donating your services. And I think if anytime you can help the community out, help people out around you, I think that just builds trust. And again, it builds a sense of community, and people want to be a part of that, and they'll want to support you if you give back. And then kind of, I think this is my last one here. So brand monitoring and adoption. So we hand these little guys out at the end of every appointment. And not only has it been a great way for us to gain Google reviews, but it gives us a pulse on how we're doing. And we just say, leave us a review if you'd like. We'd love to know what your experience is like. It's as simple as that. And it is, again, a great pulse to know if there's anything that you need to change, anything that you need to pivot on, if you're doing a good job. So the other part of it, though, is adoption and evolution. So if you do find that you're hearing from your customers that they're not having a great experience, or there's something that you can fix, be willing to do that. Be willing to pivot, be willing to adapt. And it's going to help. We have pivoted and so many times throughout, and it's always been a good thing for Groovy Peach. Okay, and then my last thing is we're just going to talk about selling, because all three of us sell at Groovy Peach every day. We upsell in jewelry, we sell our brand. So I'm going to kind of tell you my experience there. So before I started Groovy Peach with Lindsey Prater, I spent close to a decade working in various marketing and sales roles for some major tech firms throughout the Salt Lake Valley. So that was before Alice Lane. So I actually worked for Instructure, and they created the Canvas LMS. I'm not sure if they're still using that at Slick. Oh, you still use it? Okay, yeah. So used it. I graduated 10 years ago. So, but I was actually on their corporate LMS side, and we sold a product called Bridge. And the thing about the Bridge team was you had to be a little bit scrappy about selling it, because nobody knew what it was. So Canvas was the product Instructure was known for. It's kind of like the industry standard for universities, education of any kind, really. But nobody knew what Bridge was. It was really new. So why would a business choose Bridge over another well-known learning management system, right? And this is where I really learned how to talk to people, how to understand their situation, what they were looking for, what were their pain points, why were they looking for a new LMS, what set Bridge apart that I could talk to them about and help them to feel more confident in our product and services. So I was often like the very first point of contact a prospective client would have with Bridge. So it needed to be a positive experience for them. And that made a huge difference for our business, and whether or not we could get them to agree to continue further with us down the sales process. So we use that every day. Again, we sell our brand, and we sell our business. We sell ourselves. We're nice to people. We talk to people. We give them a reason to want to come back to us, right? And that's something that I think is applicable in like just about any job, or if you're looking to start a company in the future. So I think it's ready to start. Awesome.
Perfect. Okay, I'm Rachel May, and I also graduated from Slick. I also had a brother who played baseball for Slick, so I got a lot of Slick pride over there at my house. Today I'll briefly discuss the impact my background in dental assisting had on my current career in piercing. So drawing from more than a decade of experience in the dental field, I'm combining some important skills like patient care, cross-contamination, which has been so important, and strict sterilization protocols into the ethos of Groovy Peach Piercing Co. These skills are crucial to ensuring the safety and satisfaction of our clients. And then I'll talk a little bit about social media in today's society, a little bit more background on me. So I worked in the dental field for 10+ years, and then I had my first child. And a month after I had my child, I was like, I need something. So I started another business with my sister-in-law, which was a little shirt business that I did on Etsy and still do, but have kind of pivoted towards Groovy Peach because it's been a lot more successful than that. But that helped. Starting Modern Makes helped me understand the importance of an active and strategic presence on platforms like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Google, and how they can dramatically impact brand visibility, engagement, and ultimately success. So today we'll touch on my dental background, piercing career, and the important role of social media in driving business growth and outreach. 11 years of working experience in the dental field was marked by my loyalty to just 2 dental offices. This extended period of service granted me unique and invaluable insights into the inner workings of small businesses. Through day-to-day involvement, I gained a deep understanding of the operational intricacies that drive success and the critical factors that ensure patient satisfaction. I had a client yesterday who I had just pierced, and we were having a fun time laughing. And she was like, how long have you been doing this for? And I was like, oh, not quite a year. And she was like, surprised that it had only been a year. But I credit that to my 11 years of being in dental and having that patient satisfaction. Oh, here we go. Okay, today, social media plays such an important role in our personal and professional lives. Its significance lies in its capacity to connect people, ideas, and businesses on a global scale. Social media has transformed the way we communicate, share information, and conduct business. It offers a platform for instant engagement, enabling individuals and companies to reach wider audiences, build brand awareness, and foster meaningful relationships. With the ability to influence opinions, drive trends, and facilitate collaboration, social media has become an incredible tool for personal expression, marketing, networking, and staying informed in the modern world. Here are some awesome perks for having and growing an online presence. So global reach is huge. We plan on starting an online jewelry shop, and when we launch it, having an online presence will enable us to reach customers globally, far beyond our South Jordan location. For instance, if someone in Florida comes across the viral TikTok featuring our jewelry, they can easily buy from our online store. This means we can generate revenue from customers who wouldn't have the opportunity to visit our physical store for piercings. This expanded reach opens up new markets and customer segments, providing opportunities for growth for us that we may not have had if we only just had our brick and mortar operations. And I do want to, because you said 45, right?
Yeah.
When the class gets out. Okay, so I just want to talk a little bit about social media and how we kind of use it. So Facebook, we don't actually use it a whole lot ourselves, but we do see on different city-specific pages like Urban Happenings, which is close to South Jordan, or Daybreak, all of their different pages. We'll see that people will ask for recommendations for piercers, and oftentimes our name will come up. And we've seen a lot of clients from Facebook. And notably, one of our earliest clients initially found us on Facebook and subsequently introduced us to a friend who happens to be an influencer. This connection resulted in a successful piercing event that the influencer organized, showcasing the positive impact of social media networking on our business. Instagram. We were fortunate enough to capture the attention of a prominent influencer who had sought piercing recommendations and received some mentions of Groovy Peach. She scheduled an appointment with us, and we went the extra mile to extend her appointment and provide an exceptional experience. Since then, she has returned, and we fostered a beneficial relationship by offering free jewelry or piercings in exchange for Instagram shares. And I don't know if any of you have ever looked into how much an influencer costs to share stories, and it can be like hundreds for one short story. So it's really awesome that we can have her come in and deck her ears out with some new jewelry, and then she shares some stories. And whenever she features us, we do observe a substantial surge in bookings. demonstrating the significant impact of collaborating with influencers whose audiences align with ours. The influence of such individuals cannot be overstated, emphasizing the importance of connecting with influencers who share a similar audience. TikTok. TikTok is free marketing. And even though sometimes it's hard to show your face on there, it's really awesome because we've had people who come in who have seen our TikToks, and honestly, we haven't had any viral TikToks, but we still have people who are like, oh, I saw you on TikTok. So in my opinion, it's a very important strategy and something to do if you're wanting to start a business. Google Ads are very important for us as well. We get a lot of Google calls during the day and we get a lot of messages from people, and honestly, so every client that we see, we ask them where they were referred to because we're very interested in how. A lot of it is Instagram, influencers, and our Google Ads. And with that, they often express admiration for our impressive collection of 5-star reviews. I'm just going to briefly talk about the importance of Google reviews. So in less than 1 year of our doors being open, we've received over 200 5-star Google reviews. It looks like we've got 233, which is so amazing, and we're so proud of them. Haley briefly touched on how we ask for the Google reviews, but it starts from, like she said, the very first time that we talk to them, whether it's Instagram or they schedule an appointment, we give them a really good experience. We have a very clean, hygienic studio, and we sterilize their jewelry in a high-end sterilizer. So from the time they come into the appointment and the time they leave, we give them a really good experience so that we feel very confident in asking them, hey, would you mind going ahead and giving us a Google review? It would mean a lot to us. Positive reviews are so important for business success, functioning both as magnets for new customers and as catalysts for improved search engine visibility. These good reviews build trust among potential customers, acting as social proof of a business's reliability and quality. They trigger word of mouth marketing, and good reviews also help expand a business's reach as satisfied customers share their experiences. I had a client the other day, and she said, I asked how she heard from us, and she was like, my sister who lives in Oregon Googled piercing studios near me and found our review or our Google reviews, and she was like, you should go to Groovy Peach because it looks cute and they've got really good reviews. So our commitment to providing exceptional care and ensuring the highest client satisfaction is at the core of our service. We prioritize our clients' comfort throughout the piercing process. And then, like I said, we routinely request feedback from every client. Interestingly, we've noticed some of our competitors are resorting to alternative undisclosed methods to solicit 5-star reviews, although we won't divulge any specific names or details. And this can be frustrating because we have been working really hard on our reviews and we do it in an ethical way. So it's a little frustrating when you start to see competitors doing things like that. But all this to say, you want to go about doing everything in a kind of ethical way. But I guess I'll stop here so we can open it up for questions if anyone has any questions.
Yeah, so do you guys have any questions? I had a question about how you got started and how you, like, maybe some of the financial aspects. Did you have a small business loan, or did you self-fund, or?
So, yeah, I mean, I think that's a huge power in partnership too, is that we have more money to pool. We actually had a pretty small investment. We each invested like $2,000, and we were very, very careful to just grow the business from there. With the money that we'd invested, being very careful to save, and Rach is like our finance person and he keeps excellent track of all that. And we were just really careful the first year, not even the first year, the first few months to like be very conscious of what we were spending money on. We're now at the point where we just barely got a loan because we're like Haley talked about, we are in the process of launching a custom jewelry line and a website, and so we need more money for that, as well as some other like growth, a bigger studio. So just barely we've gotten a loan now. But everything has been grown organically from a very small investment at the start.
Yeah. All right. What other questions? Yeah.
Well, what do you find most rewarding about your work in the piercing industry?
That's a good question. I feel like for me, being in like the dental field for so many years, I love that in the piercing industry, people are excited and happy to come see me. Instead of like the dental office where I swear every patient was like, I'm like, how are you doing today? And they're like, well, I'm at the dentist, and I'm like, sorry. So that's something that's really rewarding for me, is having clients who are excited and happy to be there.
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah.
I'm curious a little bit. So you guys have a very different way of going about doing piercings than like Claire's, or you were trying to notice a bunch of other things. Does that like come with a ton of increased cost, or do you feel like you're still pretty close? 'Cause I would assume the other places do it with the gun because it's cheaper, but I'm just curious about your costs that way.
The costs are definitely higher. Some of the equipment we've invested in is, we have a couple of sterilizers, which are around $4,000 a piece. So those were a heavy investment. Our jewelry, we probably have close to, at this point, $15,000 to $20,000 of like jewelry in our shop. And we're about $30,000 we're about to spend on some more jewelry for other line. So it does come with a higher startup cost. We spent quite a bit of money on decorations in our shop, like making it look amazing, which it does. But I think that like all of that has definitely come back to service very well. Like it's been worth the money that we spent. Especially the thing that I like to compare piercings with is like Rach said. I feel the very same because I worked in a clinical medical setting for a long time, and so I like sticking to a schedule. I like when things are, I have a big, busy full day, but I love my interaction with clients because they're happy to be there. I also like that, to be honest, piercings make a lot of money. Like if you compare our time to some other types of like hairdressers and stuff, they spend a lot more time for their service than what we are, and comparatively, it makes a lot of money. So I like that part of it.
How do you guys stay up to the trends on like current, or up to date on like current techniques for piercings?
Why don't you answer that?
That's a really good question. Well, these two are the technical ones. So I'm the B personality that like does all like the crazy stuff on the walls and
Creative.
So I think that it's really important to just get like the proper training. Again, it really, I had a very I had a learning curve, because again, I came from software and from interior design, and these two have the most amazing background, and they came from dental and medical fields. So they know all about I feel like they already are really good with like small spaces, about like bloodborne pathogens, like just different things. I've had to learn a lot from them, and we're really good at, we abide by the Association of Professional Piercers, and we're really careful to make sure that we are using those techniques. Sometimes we feel like if there's something that's not quite working for us, we really work on it and we research other techniques. And we have found sometimes that we like to do things a little bit different. Like Lindsey learned, for instance, in her training, to do a date with a straight needle. But why would you do a date with a straight needle? Because it's a hoop that goes in your ear. With a straight needle. So we started doing it with a curved needle, and you get a lot better, you get a better product. And it's less painful, and it's just better. So there's certain things that you can do.
There's conferences that you can attend to, with like trainings, like the APP, Associated Professional Piercers, has a yearly conference in Las Vegas that we hope to attend next year. We follow like social media, like piercers, see what they're doing, learn from them, things like that too.
So are you guys doing all the work and piercings, all that? But in the future, you will want to hire people that does that work and you just have the business?
Yeah.
Or you want to still do that piercings and all that stuff?
That's a great question. We want to hire.
We're in the process right now of hiring somebody. So like, for instance, we wrote up a job description, and then I don't trust myself legally to like make sure I have all my bases covered. So I use my network, And I happen to know somebody who is an employment attorney. They specialize specifically in employment and HR law. So I reached out to him, sent that job listing over, and he's currently going over it and like went through and scrubbed it, gave me a bunch of feedback about what I need to change. And like I think always moving forward, like reaching out to like a specialized type of person for whatever part of your business is really important. We have a separate tax attorney, we have an employment attorney, and we find someone who specializes in those fields, and it's very helpful. It's really,
Yeah, so eventually we want to be able to kind of just manage the business. We don't want to be there like every day, day to day. We're all moms. And that's like, again, why we're also starting the other portion to our business, which hopefully is going to be even better than what we're doing now. And it's going to be the online sales, and we'll be able to manage that from home. So that, yeah, that's why we'll have to start hiring some employees. So it's just scary to do that because we care so much about our business, and you have to find people who will also take care of it. Good question.
We have one more question.
I just want to know a little more about what's the difference between your hollow point and a gun, like what, because I listened and watched one of your videos on ABC News, I believe. And on that, you guys, kind of went into deep depth about, the differences, but not a whole lot, like the hollow point versus like a gun, like what kind of damages does it do to your skin, to your ears versus, you know what I mean, like what makes that a unique aspect of your company?
Yeah, well, so the piercing gun is basically blunt force trauma. So imagine like an earring that's not sharp at all, just getting shoved into your ear. So when you pierce with a hollow needle, and what's nice about the hollow needle as well is it's a single use sterilized hollow needle. The piercing gun is used over and over again, and you can't actually sterilize it in like an autoclave or something that actually completely sterilizes it of blood and tissue and all of the things. So when you use a hollow needle, with it being hollow, it takes out all of the tissue and everything and leaves a very clean, safe space to heal. And on top of that, we use the best of the best jewelry. So we use implant grade titanium or 14 karat gold, which are both really amazing hypoallergenic materials, so that you're not having allergies while you're trying to heal a piercing.
Yeah, because we have like my son really into, the piercing, like he's super into that stuff. And so am I, I have several piercings myself, but of course it was done not with a hollow point. And I just wanted to know, like, I didn't want to assume that that's why, you know what I mean? And that's why I was asking.
You can usually get like a better angle with it too. And imagine like with your piercing of the gun, kind of like your piercing wound would kind of be like wavy and torn and ripped because it rips and tears your tissue as it goes through. But with a hollow needle, you will have like a very nice, clean hole, and it will be more comfortable for you to get jewelry in for like the lifetime of your piercing.